what went into sort of wanting to stay at the end of the ASU with your staff and going through that first season? How did that sort of reinforce that you wanted to?
I was really excited when I saw Bloomquist was taking over when I was in high school and was committed here, because I just knew that he was kind of just like that gritty player who just always got his stuff done, and that was just what I heard was ASU was all about. So there was no change, and he was here to get the culture back on track to where it was when we were real successful back in the day. So I think we're on a good path now, and I'm excited to be part of it. So.
Was enough of a draw for you to turn down being drafted?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the best decision I've ever made. I've developed a lot as a player, mentally, physically, and being around these guys and these coaches is a blessing. So, 100%.
What do you think is now important for you to build upon from your freshman year?
I've mentioned this before. Just the mental part of the game is just so huge, and that's something I've really tapped into recently. Is this understanding not getting yourself out of situations or out of the game just off of one failure. That's something I did a lot last year. Like first at bat, I'd strike out or just have a bad at bat. The rest of the game was a setup for failure. I would just front upon it, and I've learned that it's just part of the game, and just build on your highs and work on your highs, and you'll be all right.
Where does that kind of come from, having the mental game? Like, is there anything specifically that kind of allowed you to realize you had to tune in on that?
It's a little bit of two things. This summer, when I played up in the Northwoods, and kind of got an experience of where you're just playing every day. So it would be some games where something just felt a little off, and I'd go over and it'd just be like, all right, whatever, get back on the bus, and we're just having a good time, just laughing. I was able to play loose all the time. Next day I'd come back and I'd go 4 for 4. So it was just like back and forth all the time, just realizing it's just part of the game just to fail like that. And then the other thing too is just my brother, who has been a real help for me. Just like he understands that kind of physically he's got me as far as he could, because he's a pitcher and I'm a hitter. So he knows a lot about the game, but he's got me as far as he could. And now it's just part of the mental game, where it's being mentally strong and understanding that mental part of the game is real big.
Obviously, summer ball is a little more loose, but now coming back into here, the Pac-12, are you going to keep that loose mentality, or is it more of a this is business?
It's always good to stay loose, just not tighten up and get scared in certain situations. But I think it's important to just, always foot on the throttle, just going, because I've talked to Bloomy about this. Like, when I play a little too passive and I'm just like kind of whatever, too loose is when I'm not doing well. I take too many pitches, it's not successful. So when I'm like playing with a little chip on my shoulder, a little angry, and kind of getting after it, then that's when I'm successful.
Keaton talked about earlier just his mental growth in the game, and then Matt Keating talked about just the Bible study and things like that. Mentally, are you guys like implementing things to where that's kind of a team culture, to where you're doing mental exercises and things of that nature?
I wouldn't say mental exercises, but I think just being around each other, we kind of just go off of each other and like understand everybody's vibe. And our coach is kind of implementing this. This is kind of like the mental strength of just going after somebody and just playing like you're the best guy out there. And I think we all build on that, and we all kind of like share that little bond. So it's for sure something we all share. And that's like part of that culture that's here at ASU. So.
It's big, obviously, for local guys to stay home. I mean, Josh was just talking about it. The guys that came in, obviously very talented. You're an Arizona guy. How much did Willie and the staff kind of, lean on you when these guys were, taking recruiting trips coming in, being from Arizona, to keep them here?
He really likes to, when we get recruits coming around, just to like remind them, like, you got to want to come here. A lot of schools, especially when I was going through the recruiting process, it was like, oh, look at us, we did this, we're all successful, whatever, like, you should come to us, like, because we're cool and all that. Like, and then when I talked to Bloomy, it was like, you got to want to come here. Like, you have to want to be a part of ASU baseball. It's something real special. So that's what I really liked, and we've shared that with other guys and recruits coming in.
It seems that the offensive consistency is like at least starting to show itself as of late. And just watching last week's scrimmage, seeing Tobias go yard, seeing guys like Godinho go yard, seeing like just it looks like the offense is really starting to show itself as opening day approaches. You guys feel, at least as an offensive unit, incredibly confident. How you guys feel going into opening day?
I think we're extremely confident. We have 15 guys that are able to start in that 1 through 9 hitting wise. Because it's gonna be tough for Bloomy to have that lineup set in the first day, is what I think. Because we're set 1 to 9, and we got 5 more guys coming off the bench that are able to get a job done. So I'm really excited to see how we do.
considering that you're a veteran, you'll probably get the majority of those starts. Do you feel like you have a certain responsibility, considering that there are a lot of freshmen and a lot of transfers who are now going to be entering this lineup, and when one of either yourself or other guys aren't hitting at necessarily any consistent paces, spots will get traded for on a weekly basis?
Yeah, I think it's just understanding what your role is, and just depending on where you are in the lineup or just the situation of the game, just getting the job done. And then me as a second year, and it's having a lot of young guys, most of them pitchers, but just in general, a lot of young guys, is just being like someone they can come to just to help them with their first year in college. Because last year for me was a lot of learning experience, so just being there to help them.
With the team coming off a disappointing ending to last season, talking about the mental shift, mental adjustments, just in game, but just culturally and as a team, what has been the mental and just the actual conversations going into this year compared to last year going into the season?
I think it's really just every game counts, because last season it really came down to that. It was something that blew me. After every single scrimmage or practice we have, he'll just talk about just going over what we did good and we did bad during the practice, and sometimes those bad things he just reminds us, especially the guys that were here last year, just how close we were to being. We're just that close. It was between U of A and us, and it just separation of one game could have made us get into the tournament and not get into the tournament. So it's just the importance of every pitch, every out, every inning. So
Who was it that helped you through your first year of college? Who that you can try to help now and mentor out of the past that who helped you sort of cement that?
last year I'd say there's about 3 guys that were I really tried to talk to a lot. With Campos, because he was just so successful, and it just seems like he just had everything figured out. He was just so comfortable. He had routines. He was like a big leaguer in a college clubhouse. It's unreal the way that guy's just got everything figured out. And I just talked to him about different routines and stuff, more on the physical side of things. And then Luke Keishel last year got picked up in the second round, who I'm still really close with and talked to him. He was just more the mental, just going at everybody, going 100% every play, never letting up. And then Will Rogers was just he was a mentor early for me, because I struggled with nerves, and I would just get super, super nervous before games, and he would just have me calm down. I remember the first game actually when we played San Diego State last year. We get meals before the game, and I just couldn't eat. I was so nervous. I was just struggling. So I had to go to our study room where I thought no one would be. And Will Rogers was in there doing some yoga and breathing exercises, and he was just bro, you're supposed to be here. You were born for this. Just go out and relax. And he helped me just relax a little bit and go out and play. So
How do you manage the when things aren't going your way, going well, whether it's on the plate or the field? How do you sort of calibrate whether or not a change needs to be made technically, or if it's more consistency going back to the next day?
I think it's just all about confidence. Just understanding you did enough preparation to get where you are and just to be successful, and just trusting that process. You got to know that you're the best player on the field, and you got to say that to yourself to get yourself there. So I think that's super important, that confidence piece. So.